Despite the strengths identified by the PRISMA checklist, certain weaknesses were called into question. According to the methods section of the PRISMA checklist, authors should make efforts to describe the methods used to assess bias in individual studies. This is problematic since biased studies would result in less meaningful findings. Including such findings in a systematic review does not provide an accurate response to the study's question. Since these methods are not detailed, the author could not provide data on the risks of biases in each result section. Bias across studies should also be examined by authors completing a systematic review. Yet again, the authors failed to describe any procedures used to assess such bias, even though some of their research strategies included biased searches. Firstly, the authors limited their search to English language journals only. This type of limitation evokes a cultural bias whose relevance should be discussed. Secondly, with no dramatic representation of why studies were excluded from the review, the reader is unaware of if the studies were excluded due to negative findings. Such a limitation leads to a publication bias, which prevents a complete assessment of the research question to take place. Without a discussion of the possible risks of bias across the chosen studies, the reader is left wondering about the validity of the findings. Another weakness in the study is the lack of information regarding a search strategy used. According to the PRISMA checklist, review should include a detailed search strategy for at least one of the databases. This can be further demonstrated through the use of a flow diagram. Neither methods were used in this study. By utilizing such approaches, it can help the reader in understanding how studies were chosen through specific databases along with the reasons to why each study was excluded. Despite the authors providing a summary statement regarding the total number of studies that were found and used, this general statement can be difficult to follow when recreating the search across the databases. The author should have been more transparent regarding how their studies were selected. For example, it should be noted if they were acquired through keyword searches or through additional search strategies. With regards to the inclusion criteria, they should have provided a more specific definition regarding what constitutes a developmental disability. Considering that developmental disabilities is a broad term, the author should have provided an explanation regarding inclusion of specific disabilities, such as defining specific intellectual disabilities that should be included.
Created using Powtoon.